This technical seminars are an Intertech production. For instructor-led .NET, Java, and XML courses, visit us at www.intertech.com.
So let's take a look at that working in real live code. All right, so now we're inside of my IDE, and I'm just going to run the same program we just looked at the code for. So here I passed in a locale of French for my language, FR, and you can see below that the date is now formatted in French. If I wanted to change that, so I'm going to go to my run configurations, and I'm going to change my argument that I pass in from French to be English, and I'll run that. Now the same program displays the date and time format in an English format. So you can see that my code, really what we've done is a classic object-oriented principle, which is to separate things that change from the things that stay the same. The act of grabbing a date and printing it is going to be the same. What specific information is printed is what's going to be changed. So the code that we've seen here accomplishes that. Okay, another example is our number formatter. So as I mentioned before, there's lots of different things that can happen with numbers. So we can have different groupings, we can have different delimiters, and so all I'm doing here is taking my locale, using the number format class, which is in Java text, and generating a number instance. The parameter that I'm using is whatever my locale is. And then I'm just showing how different numbers can be represented in different regions. So I've got a number that's 6 digits long for the first one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then another that includes a decimal point. So let's take a look at this running. Okay, so let's run our number format example. Go into my run configurations, and let's add the number format example. And I'm going to pass in first English as my locale. So let's take a look at this. Our locale is English. The first number is formatted with a comma in the thousandth place, so 1, 2, 3, comma 4, 5, 6. And when I have a number with a decimal, it retains that decimal as a decimal point. Let's change this now to be French. And you can see that that's a much different formatting. Instead of using a comma, it uses a space. And then instead of using a decimal, it uses a comma. Again, my code didn't have to be changed depending on the locale. I simply delegated to this number format object, and it took care of it for me. Let's look at another type of content that can be internationalized. So in the examples that we were just looking at, we saw that it's pretty easy to remove hard-coded specific data for dates, times, numbers, and whatnot. And we're able to use libraries that were provided to us through the regular Java API that comes standard with the JDK to be able to create those translations, those regional specific displays at runtime. All that we need to do is make sure that we're not hard-coding that data, that we're using these methods, and that we're passing in a locale object to the methods. If we want to do some more work, if we want to have different kinds of translations like swapping of images, swapping of phrases, maybe different objects depending on the region that the user has specified, then what we need to do is create what's known as a resource bundle. So a resource bundle is just a collection of regional specific information. It could be just translations of words and phrases. It could be images. It can be objects. And resource bundles are something that we create using part of the Java API that's provided for us. So I'll show you how we do this. There are really two different ways that we can create a resource bundle. We can either do this as a Java class or as a property file. And once we create a resource bundle, we'll have it based on a specific region. So I'll have, for example, an English United States region resource bundle, or a French Canada resource bundle. So they're separated based on your locale. So when you name the resource bundle, you have to follow a specific convention. First of all, you decide on a base name. And the base name can be whatever you want. Maybe it's login messages, or error messages, or contact us messages. However you want to name the base name. That part is going to be the same for each resource bundle. What's going to end up happening, and I'll show you the rules of selection in a minute, once we create our application, we'll just specify the base name of the resource bundles that we want, and then at runtime we'll pass in a locale object so it can grab the very specific resource bundle that we need. So the base name needs to be the same for our grouping of resource bundles. After you have the base name, you add some locale information, and it can be any of the three variations that we saw earlier. It could just be the language, it could be the language in the country, or language, country, and variant. The delimiter here between base name and the different properties of a locale is the underscore character. So let's look at three different kinds of resource bundles that we can create. First, let's look at creating a class. And if I wanted to create a class that had messages and whatnot, I would just simply create a class that extends Java util resource bundle. And when I do that, there are going to be two methods that I'll need to override. I'll need to override the getKeys method and the handle getObject method. These are declared as abstract methods in Java util resource bundle. So if I do not override these methods, then I will need to declare that my own class is abstract as well. And sometimes that makes a lot of sense. You may create a superclass for your resource bundle that all of your other specific resource bundles will extend, and in that case maybe you just override your getKeys method in the abstract class, and each individual class that you create will implement the handle getObject. In fact, that's the example that I'll show you coming up here. This is typically used when you need text or objects to come from a data source other than a text file. So if I'm grabbing my text from a database, maybe a web service, really any kind of data store that isn't just a regular property text file. A second type of resource bundle that we'll look at is a property resource bundle. This is the typical implementation that you see. You don't need to override resource bundle. In fact, you don't need to create a special class. You will just create a property file that uses the same resource bundle naming pattern as above, which is you choose a base name and append a locale to it. The only difference is that now it will end with the .properties extension. And then we'll take a look at a property resource bundle coming up, but it's really just name value pairs, just what you'd expect in a property file.
For more free learning resources and to see the latest lineup of our instructor-led .NET, Java, and XML courses, visit us at www.intertech.com.